Flosstube. How are you all? Today's date is April 5th, 2018, and my name is Saho. My channel name is Saho Dream Stitch, and this is my 6th Flosstube video. As always, thank you for all your kind comments and likes. I really enjoyed reading them and responding to them. And in many of the comments, people were looking forward to the videos and pictures of the cherry blossoms in Japan. And I'm happy to say that I have got them. So this episode will contain some rambling, some WIPs, start, finish, and several videos and pictures of the cherry blossoms. However, to start with, I have a question. What do you think of this blouse? I'm asking because I bought this blouse several years ago. It's Liberty print actually, or maybe I should get closer. If you could see the pattern. It's Liberty print and it's made by a fairly conservative designer. So I bought it and I wore it on a business trip, and a colleague who was traveling with me at the time referred to my outfit as being psychedelic. P-S-Y-D-E-L-I-C, psychedelic. And yes, he has good vision, and no, I don't think he was on anything. So I dared not ask anyone else. They wouldn't tell me anyway. And I wear it because I like it, but I'm always reminded of his comment. But anyway, it's spring. So in spring, I think people are allowed to be a little crazy. Well, but anyway. It's also strange because that said colleague has remained a dear friend of mine for many years, so I guess psychedelic didn't bother him. But anyway, let's talk about stitching because that's why we're here. As I said I might in my last Flosstube, I have a finish. So here's the chart. It's Promise Me by Lizzie Kate that I bought spontaneously upon hearing the news of the designer's retirement, and stitched it up pretty quickly. So I used the DMC conversions for the letters and colors from my own stash that I thought would go well with the DMC colors. I guess it turned out a little bit muted than this picture suggests. I guess if I had used the recommended overdyes, it might have turned out a little brighter, do you think? But I like it. I like how this turned out, and I will definitely FFO it real soon so I could put it in my room. Actually, I had planned to have this finished before I left for my business trip 2 weeks ago, but I didn't. So I ended up taking it on my business trip, and I finished it in my hotel room, which was enjoyable because things went a little nuts on this trip, but I won't talk about that. And so since I have a finish, I have a start. So this is one of the patterns from our very own Arlene Cohen, Works by ABC. It's the flowers from 1650. So I'm starting from the middle, as you can see. And I pulled the recommended colors, and then I switched a few of them. I don't know why. I love old patterns and the designs that Arlene puts out based on those old pattern designs, but I tend to like them just a little bit richer in color than the recommended colors. Anyway, and aside from these, there's really only one WIP that I have been working on, and it's a hardanger. It's more of a pulled work piece than hardanger, I think. And this is my progress. Okay, and it's basically blanket stitching all around. I first do the cross stitching and the Smyrna crosses in the middle, so this sort of a square area, and then I go around and do these satin stitches and then go around. And yes, I did make a few mistakes, and yes, I did fudge some stitches, but I think I have these edges of the flowers, the stitches really have to match whether they're right or wrong, because I would eventually be pulling out the threads from these areas. So these areas will be cut and pulled to make a flowery pattern edge. So really that's everything I have this time stitching wise. So now I will talk about the cherry blossom videos that I have. Now, Japanese people love cherry blossoms. And by cherry blossoms, we usually refer to a species called Somei Yoshino. But cherry blossoms do come in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of different types. But those will bloom later in the month. But most of the most beautiful parks and avenues will have the Somei Yoshino, the whitish pink cherry blossoms planted, and they will bloom. They're very sensitive to the weather, so they will start blooming from the South Okinawa, and the latest will be Hokkaido. And in Hokkaido they bloom, I think, around May, because it's very cold there. But in Osaka it varies. Sometimes it blooms in the end of March, sometimes they bloom very late if we have a long winter or a cool start to the spring, and they will be still blooming in time when children enter elementary school, high school, middle school, colleges. But this year it was a bit early, I think, because I went on a 5-day trip up north, and when I left, the flowers were not blooming, and up north they're not blooming naturally because it's colder, but when I came back 5 days later, they were 30 to 50% in bloom. And I like to see cherry blossoms when they're early, 50 to 70, shichibuzaki, I think as they would call. But traditionally, the Japanese people like to see cherry blossoms in full bloom, and just when the cherry petals are falling off the trees, they find beauty in it, because I was told it symbolizes sort of how fleeting and temporary everything is in life, and how life is but a dream, that kind of philosophical sentiment. But I like them because they're pretty. But when I came home from the 5-day business trip, I only had spent 2 nights at home and then packed and went off again. But on my way to the train station, I found a small park and a small river with cherry trees planted alongside it, and the flowers were so pretty that I got off the bus and took the videos and the pictures. And that was during the daytime, and the weather was really beautiful, so I think you will like them. I will insert the videos here. And I hope I didn't make you dizzy with by turning around. But I think the beauty of the cherry blossoms when it's really nice weather, I love seeing the cherry blossoms against the sky. And that's why I am turning around and looking up at the arches. And I really had a good time. It was nice timing, just when I like to see them. And I also have some pictures and videos of cherry blossoms at night. This time it's near my home. It's in a park, neighborhood park, and also by a small riverbank, and I thought it was really pretty, so I will insert the video and pictures here. Yes, Japanese people like to watch cherry blossoms at night as well. And what I did not get pictures of, and is very important in the Japanese culture, is that people not only like to watch cherry blossoms or walk underneath a cherry tree, they like to sit under a cherry tree and party. By party, I mean barbecue, drinking beer, picnicking, things like that. And they don't have this this practice anymore, but in the old days, one of the first jobs a newly hired employee was given to do was to go and get out into a park and get and sit on a spot underneath a nice cherry tree. So his bosses and his superiors could have a party there that night. So that is one of the Japanese culture that I cannot explain. Why do you want to party under a cherry tree? I don't know, maybe you can take a guess in your comments. But it's a very, very common practice. So families do it, companies do it, young and old. Alcohol may or may not be involved. But actually, I didn't really find out how strange it actually was until I went to Kyoto a few years ago, took pictures, and posted it on my Facebook page at that time. And some of my Facebook friends pointed out that people were sitting under the cherry trees on blue tarps. And asked what are they doing there. And I thought it was natural, but I guess it's not. So it's always good to have friends who are not Japanese so they can point out things to you that you always take for granted. So it reminds me how much I don't know about my own culture, although I really don't see the point in the partying part. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I think this Flosstube will probably go up tomorrow because of all the editing that I have to do despite the very little stitching that I introduced. But thank you again for watching, and thank you again for your comments and likes and viewing. It means a lot to me, and I will see you in my next Flosstube video. Bye for now.